Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Please pay attention. Now is the time that we put the wonderful subscribers of the Twitch stream in the spotlight. We have famous people here now. Iceman, you're famous. Congratulations. Playing Zerg in the top right. Primal Drone Skin. This one reminds me of dinosaurs more than any of the other ones. There's that dinosaur that has the big club tail, and it has those big armor pieces all on its back and sides and stuff. This drone reminds me of that dinosaur. So Iceman is going for a dinosaur skin theme here. This Overlord also has the little scales. But this is like a Stegosaurus. This one looks more like a Stegosaurus. Hatch first. Extractor. Swimming pool. Boom. Got him. Alright. In the bottom left hand of this analysis, we have purple pills. So this is analysis. I don't need to articulate everything that's going on. We're mainly looking at Iceman playing the bugs, trying to not die horribly in a ditch, and wrest the advantages from the opponent. Which, easier said than done, right? ZVT is hard. It's a hard matchup. The first point of preference here for Zergs is how many Overlords you send across the map. I send one, and I delay my Overlord speed. Iceman sends two, and if I had to guess, he's probably going to go Ling speed and Overlord speed, which is a fine opening. We learned this one from Lambo. Cool. So this Overlord sees this business. The Reaper's arriving. Okay. Great. Third base is up. Great. Ling speed, Overlord speed. Awesome. So early game looks pretty much fine aside from this monstrous supply block. Oh my god. I just wanted to say, I mean, we've covered this many times, and Iceman knows this, but it bears repeating. The 31 Overlord is the most elusive and mysterious Overlord in all of StarCraft in ZVT. And the reason for that is that's when the first interaction between yourself and the opponent tends to happen. That's the Reaper shooting at your first queen. That's the Adept that gets kind of across the map and starts doing stuff. In ZVZ, that's the first couple lings from the opponent that start poking at you. So one of the mysterious ways you can really kickstart your macro is name that 31 Overlord. My third Overlord's name is Theodore. Theo, the third Overlord. The third Overlord tends to fill vision outside of the third base. I use my second Overlord to fill vision out here, but if you're in the case where, say, you're doing this double Overlords across the map kind of setup, I would put my next Overlord here to watch outside the natural, and then my next Overlord here to watch outside the third, and then I would put two happy little Overlords on the cliff here in the main so I can see Hellion drop and that kind of business. Write it down. Put it on a notepad. 31 Overlord. And it's a quiet mistake, too. You've got loud mistakes, which would be like accidentally blowing up all your Banelings and it makes a big kaboom and you're very sad. But that 31 supply block, it really messes up your macro, but you usually forget about it. And then you're kind of in the mid-game and you get killed by a Terran push and you're like, why though? Because of this. Okay, we have supply now. Great. Supply management. Supply management, that's the first thing. The first take home from this. The second one would be inject up time. Queens do so little damage against rocks. It's actually one of the most amazing Easter eggs that StarCraft developers put into the game. Because there's like damage, right? You know how units deal damage? They got into a meeting room. There's like a long table with comfortable chairs, and they all have glasses of water. And they're like, what's a good Easter egg we could put in the game that will be really funny for players? And they were trying to figure out something that wouldn't really break the game. Like, they didn't want to make it overpowered or underpowered. But they're like, all right, how can we make something really hilarious? And there was a person down at the bottom corner of the table who raised their hand, and they were like, "What about queens?" And then the people at the table were like, "Well, what about them? What about queens damage?" And they were like, "Well, they're pretty good against air. They can shoot pretty fast, and we upped their range from the previous expansion, so they're pretty good anti-air units. And they do pretty well against ground. Like, it's okay. It's not good, but..." And he was like, what if they dealt the lowest damage in the game of any unit or worker to rocks? And everyone just burst into applause. They were like, "Yeah, that's it. That's the Easter egg we need. That's not going to break the game, but it's hilarious." And I want to zoom in and I want to show this to you because a lot of people don't know about this. Let's go back to when the queens were not getting helped by the lings. Okay. Look at these queen shots. And when they hit the rocks, do you see the health change? Do you see it? Does it even deal damage? Or is that the Zerglings? Because it looks like they're like really putting a bunch of effort into this, just shooting these rocks, and shooting these rocks, and shooting these rocks, and shooting these rocks. And meanwhile, the base is not injected. Was it worth it? Was it worth all of that effort? I think no. I think we should have just kept our bases injected and spread creep earlier. Okay, so that's another thing. Overlord management, supply management, and please God, never use your queens to fight rocks. It doesn't do anything. And now we're supply blocked again. And we don't have that much creep because the queens were too busy doing whatever that was. Oh man. I like that you killed the rocks though. I mean, you have the right idea. Killing the rocks is important. But that's one of those things of like, whose job is it to kill the rocks? It's not the queen's job. Nice, Biles. Nice, Biles. Get the transfuses. Get your macro hatch. This is when the macro hatch needs to go down. Because now we have $1 bajillion. And if you're in Plat Diamond Masters, this is one of those points where both players just can't spend. Like, they know the good timings to go for. This timing you'll see in GM. This is a good timing. They hit their timing. The difference is they're not also spending at the same time. This is an amazing counterattack. But can you defend at home? Fourth base in the macro hatch. Fourth base in the macro hatch. Don't attack that. Don't attack that. Kill these. Don't... What? No. What? What? No. Kill these. I think I see the logic here. You wanted to kill the starport because you knew that the opponent had $1 million, so why would you kill their workers? Then they would just help them spend their money better. I see. I understand now. Okay. Fourth base in a macro hatch. You can take your macro hatch at like 6 minutes against Terran. Ideally, you would take a fourth base, but a lot of times Terran has a big timing that's hitting right around that time, and it's not always safe to do that. But you can pretty much always drop the macro hatch. And when you drop the macro hatch, you can put 2 spores up here. This needs to be creeped. You can put 2 spores up here as well, and that'll really help deal with air stuff and drops. Doom drops, YOLO drops. Get the money down. Get the money down. The money would have been a lot lower too if those injects weren't missed from the queens that were attacking the rocks for 5 minutes. Carapace 2, that's nice. What other tech are we going for though? Spire and Evo Chamber. Might as well get an Infestation Pit. Like, look at this money. Infestation Pit is not going to kill you. And it moves you toward Hive. Hive is good for 2 reasons. One is you can make some Respect Vipers. And then you can also make Ultras, which are really good units. You should get a Bane Nest too. Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay, you're going +1 air attack. I feel like this is the kind of game where going for mutas wouldn't really be that good. Just because of how deep you've invested into your Roach Warren. Making a few defensive mutas is fine though. But I would prefer a Hive transition. Because the mutas at this number are not going to kill the opponent and end the game. The time when mutas shine in terms of just like sweeping into the Terran base and killing everything would be when you have a fast 2-2 for your Ling Bane. We have like Ling Ravager. Ling Ravager Muta. It doesn't really resonate as like, yeah, I see what you're going for. It's kind of like, you made a Roach Warren to be safe, and you know, it's bio, so you're making Lings, and Ravagers have Splash, so that's a thing. Okay. So this caught us completely by surprise. And this is not a particularly good unit composition, because you don't have a great answer for Marines. The difference between Ravagers against Bio and Ravagers against Mech is Bio units are fast, Mech units are slow, so they can pretty easily dodge the Corrosive Bile. And there's not enough, like, meat. You need a bunch of meat, right? The meat units would be like your mass Ling Bane, your mass Roach, maybe even like mass Hydra. Something that's gonna create some substance in your army. Ravagers are so thin. They just die super fast. Yeah, they deal some damage and they have some range, but they're backline units, not frontline units. Or you could just do a Roach Ravager max out. Be a little bit more sturdy. And I'm really not thrilled by the Muta choice. Because when you saw the Tank Marine push initially, you would think, alright, they are going to be having Marines over time. So Muta Harass probably isn't going to be the strongest because we didn't have a super clean early mid game. So I would be looking to defensively get into Ultras. And you can defend Ultras by having, like, Roach Bane. Ling Roach Bane. Maybe even Corruptors. Because Corruptors are a bit cheaper. Yeah, you gotta get that Hive. Mutas are bad. I think Mutas are good if you have a crisp early game and you crush some pressure and you get ahead. And then you can use the Mutas to control the map and that kind of stuff. But if you're kind of behind, which I feel like you were kind of behind, mainly because of the spending issues and whatnot, then you want to be more defensive in trying to secure your Ultra Transition. The Ultra Transition is when you can really push the Terran around on the ground. The game felt a lot less stupid when you played it. That's a general thing, I think. StarCraft always... It looks sillier when you're analyzing it in the replay, but if you actually have to use your keyboard and mouse to play the game, you understand the logic for why you did everything in the moment. But if you get a neutral third-party perspective on it, a lot of the stuff does seem stupid. That's okay. That's everybody.